It's an awakening process. So you know those people that like the white beaters, right? So everybody tells them, why do you keep picking the same people? The same people that to get out of prison and have tattoos all over the bodies and have like a teardrops on their eyes. So how many people have killed? You keep picking those people and you get beaten. You can't understand why. So it's kind of the same thing that's going on right now with this next pandemic, right? So the people that were responsible for the last pandemic, were they held accountable? All right. So, it's not too late to hang them, though. It's not too late to hang them because I think the sooner we get there, the sooner we're not going to have any more of these pandemics and all the other crazy stuff that goes on with it. Now, I think that President Trump is ahead of a lot of this stuff. He basically did Operation Warp Speed, which basically, they were going to have Hillary come in and, completely lock us down. That was supposed to happen all the way back to 2012. They were trying to, get us locked down all the way back then. But our consciousness rose to the point where they couldn't lock us down. And our consciousness rose to the point where they couldn't elect Hillary over and over again. And so now we're at a point where we're going to have another, potential, I guess, to learn, because a lot of people didn't learn from the last pandemic, right? So if you didn't learn, then you have to repeat. You don't learn, you get the same, situation again until you learn. So this is what we're going through with this next scamdemic. All right. So it is going to continue until we reach a certain point where we say enough is enough. All right. We start holding these people accountable. They start going to prison. They start getting the noose treatment or the firing squad or whatever is, situation dictates, for what they've done. If they were definitely knowingly, wittingly responsible for lots of deaths, then of course, they get the death penalty. If they were, some doctor somewhere injecting that stuff and they, wittingly knew that it was causing harm, probably death penalty, right? So then there's some that, just had no clue whatsoever and still have no clue whatsoever, maybe some time in jail, right? So that's what we're looking at. And I did a show with Brad Wozny and Scott McKay last night. And Brad Wozny said, from his calculations, there's 100 million people that are going to be held accountable. It's like, wow, that's some serious numbers, but I'm open to that. I'm open to whatever. That's almost 1/3 of the population of the United States. So it's going to be very. And I don't know if he was talking about the whole world, if he's just talking about the United States. It seems like more fitting if it was the whole world. If it's just the United States, it's maybe a little bit extreme, but like I said, I'm open to that possibility. So lots of people are going to be held accountable for lots of different things, not just for the last pandemic, but for this one that's coming up. Now, many people are like, I'm not going to play this game. All right. Did you play the last game? Maybe you didn't play the last game either, but it did happen, didn't it? Yeah. So this one's going to happen too. It depends on our consciousness level of what level that it goes to, right? So I've been watching it and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Is this like monkeypox? We're just going to expose it and it's going to go away? Nah, this one, they've been planning this one for a long time and they're getting desperate to get something to work for them. And they know that we're getting to the point where we're about ready to haul them out into the streets, right? So this is gonna push that. The hauling into the streets is is after this pandemic, it's going to get a lot more severe. All right. So there's, a lot of people that are NPCs. They're put into positions to, just be dumb about this and believe in it. And they're the ones that are, getting that shot in the arm. And a lot of them are going away from it. All right. This next one's going to be a lot more violent as far as like the numbers of people that probably will die. All right. And I believe that we'll probably see, the vaccination. I've already seen people on X that are saying they're vaccinated for hantavirus. And, there's a lot of people that are dissing them and saying they're never going to do that. I said, before COVID really kicked off, I was saying this is going to be pretty serious. All right. And then I remember going into a grocery store and I was wearing a mask and everybody's like looking at me like I'm a freak. And I was videoing it and I put it up and I said, this is what's coming. And people just like blew up on me. I was like, okay, you're going to find out. So we found out, didn't we? All right. So, I smile and I joke around a little bit. That's the way I was during the last pandemic. I try and help people, see the lighter side of this, because to me, it's ass foolery, right? It's so stupid. And I thought the same thing when I watched the towers drop in their footprint. I was like, that's so stupid. Somebody got in there, put demolitions in there. So it's an inside job. How did terrorists get in there? It's like, wow. So eventually we get to the point where we're like, okay, building 7 fell in his footprint and it wasn't hit by a plane. Wow. So the narrative that they used to drop the 2 twin towers because a plane. The plane, boss, the plane. All right. So if you saw those planes, like I did, and I'm like, something's really strange about those planes. Those jets just kind of like disappear into the building. And I've never seen anything like that. Planes don't normally do that. They usually break apart and blow up on the outside of a building and cause a hole in the building when they explode, like they did in the Empire State Building, which they were working on, I think back in the late 40s or something. A B-25 bomber crashed into it, caused a little hole, and it didn't drop at his footprint. So, if you look at history and you see all these things, you're like, start to put things together, and you're like, you can easily see where the manipulations are, right? So how many people do you think believe the 9/11 narrative? Now, for me, I was pretty surprised when I saw this the polling, because I was like, this isn't going to work. I was like, this pandemic, there's no way it's going to work. People are awake now. People are making comments. People are calling me stupid again. That it's not going to happen. And I'm like, it kind of sounds like the same thing happened last time, but I really think that people are more awake now. So I'm like, for instance, 9/11, everybody's awake on that, right? All right. Yes, I'm laughing because it is stupidly funny. All right. New poll, 42% of Democrats think Butler assassination attempt on Trump was staged. Only 42%, right? How about Republicans? Are Republicans smarter? No. So it's like the Democrats. Democrats got more vaccinated than Republicans, right? And that's because their party was pushing it. And so they went with their party line. Now, with the Butler assassination, all right, we have Trump, who's a Republican, and most Republicans believe Butler. All right. You can believe whatever you want. You can believe the COVID narrative. You can believe the hunt the virus narrative. It is what it is, right? And you can believe David Wilcock killed himself. It's like, whatever you want to believe is you look at the information, you make a decision, and you're like, this is it, right? And you can't convince me otherwise because I've done the research and I'm picking something and I'm not going to change. How many people are like that, right? Almost everybody, all right? So with the Trump assassination in Butler, where his ear was shot, he just turned at the right time and the bullet whizzed by his head. I've been over this so many times. And let's look at a few of these things. And at some point, like we talked about, I brought it up very heavily last night, and I talked about some events in history. Mussolini and his mistress and people in his cabinet, generals and so forth, they were hung in the city square by piano wire, right? And then they were cut down and hacked to pieces, right? This probably needs to go in some places around the world, right? This needs to happen. Unfortunately, we have not seen, because a lot of people are like, the White House are going to come save us. That's always a narrative. That's a false narrative that's started by the dark side. All right. They did the same thing in Soviet Union. They kept telling everybody that there was a plan. The generals were coming back. They were forming up. They were coming back. They're going to take down these evil people. Never happened. It wasn't until the people rose up and took down the Soviet Union that it was stopped out, right? So we may, I'm trying to be generous here by saying may, and maybe to keep this channel going too. We may will have to stand up to this because there's a lot more of them than there is the white hats, right? Look at all those NPCs. Look at all those holograms out there. There's a lot of them, right? And those have to be sifted through and so forth. Now, another caveat here for people to consider is that a lot of these people that are not going to ascend, they need an exit. They need something. They need some way they can exit, right? So when you see people going bye-bye from stuff that goes in their arm, that's what they want, right? We have free will here. And you may not understand it because, yeah, if you see little kids are getting forcibly injected, right? I remember that when I was a kid, you had to get injected at school, right? They had those they were air guns. So they shot the injection into your arm. And then it wasn't long after that, I got asthma, right? Fortunately, I grew out of that. But, these evil ones, they have a lot of power still. And they're going to continue to use that power against us. So just by you saying, no, that's not going to happen this time, doesn't make it so, right? Doesn't make it so yet, right? At some point, it will. At some point, it will. You got one in boot camp, David? One? Oh, there was a lot that happened in boot camp. There's like each arm, you went down a line. They're like, boop, 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 boop. All right, and on each arm. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And Trump just tweeted out a no vaccination is good. Wow. So Trump put that out, and Trump put out that these crazy, he calls them crazy Democrats, are going to they're going to, you know, try and like lock us down again, mask us, and you know, lock down the schools and all that kind of stuff. And he said we're not going to do that, right? So that's good. That's coming from the commander this time. Now, last time, you know, for whatever, he had to let it happen. And you're like, why didn't he take charge? Because what's happening, I saw it yesterday when I put up that video. I got massively attacked. Still, people don't understand. They have to get involved, right? So it's going to continue. It's going to continue. He's trying to be a leader. And during the last one, there were so many people that were hoodwinked by it, and they were watching, they didn't know. And although I'm jumping up and down, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Get hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. All right. So you'll survive. You'll be good. And, you know, they kept taking me down. And I'd sneak in with another channel and, you know, talk around it and say the don't get the jabberdo. Right. And then they made saying jabberdo illegal. And I remember I did a show one time with a guy that has a channel, Nicholas Vinyamin, and he still had his channel, and he had me on. He'd been talking around everything, and he was talking about jabberdo, and I was like, is it okay to say that now? It's like, or does he not know? So he got his channel taken down after jabberdo, saying jabberdo, right? So he's got another one up like I have this one up. But, you know, these guys, are they going to do the same thing again? I don't think they're going to have the same capabilities that they had with the last one. They're going to like try and, you know, push this on us again, which you're already starting to do, which I'm going to point out. And we'll see, you know, how far they get this time. But you guys have to be involved. If you don't get involved, it will get bad. It will get bad this time, right? And possibly worse, right? So, and I don't care what card readers say, and I don't care what psychics say. They all said same bullshit last time. This is not going to be anything. They said that President Trump wasn't going to elect it. I said when he came down the escalator, he was going to be elected, right? So there's a lot of disinformation out there in the psychic fields, right? So just be heads up, you know, just be observant of what people talk about and say. It's going to get silly. It's going to get silly going forward, and we're just going to start to point some of this out. Okay, here we go. So I hope I don't have to do this all that much. So it's like I already know where this is going. I already know this is bullshit. But just like the last one, I have to inform people. Just like the 9/11, you know, I had to inform people, even though I got attacked. I don't know. It's like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I do, even though I know I'm going to get attacked, I keep doing this? It's like, am I glad for punishment or what? Right? So it's, sometimes it sucks. All right. So let's look at, you know, media spreads Hentabar's hysteria in attempt to save disgrace too. So you can say what you want. You know, these groups maybe are coming out and saying, it's all propaganda, it's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Yeah, but it still worked last time, didn't it? So in 2025, German intelligence also reported their findings indicating a 90% likelihood that COVID was engineered and originated at the Wuhan lab in China. I said this from the beginning. From the beginning. Yes, before it was even known, I was saying this. Right? So it's easy to find this stuff, and you don't have to be a remote viewer like I am or intuitive. You just do a little critical thinking research, and you're going to find it. You're going to find it. It's not that hard. Right? So the WHO, World Health Organization, they tried to like set it up so they could do another one of these pandemics, and we had to respond and how they wanted us to respond. But we pushed back on it. I don't know how we did that, even though Biden was still in office. So that just leads me to believe that, again, President Trump was, running the show from behind the scenes. Thank you, President Trump. So the WHO didn't have that capability. There were enough people that stood up and pushed back. Again, people got involved, and it didn't happen. But like I was talking about with 9/11, let's go back. Let's look at that. So we can look at all these opinion polls and, do the research and so forth. A lot of us that think there's no way that people can still be that stupid, they still are. They still are. And they're still going to be. They're still going to be. So here we are. 1 in 4 of the 16 to 24-year-olds held this belief that the U.S. government was responsible for 9/11. 1 in 4. So 25%. That means 75% still believe it. Right? That means 70% got vaccinated. That's pretty close to the same thing, right? So early, this is 2021, in early September 2020, a poll of adults in the United States revealed that 48% of people were still unaware that a third World Trade Center tower, World Trade Center 7, collapsed in Manhattan without a plane crashing into it, by just debris supposedly hitting it and causing fires that collapse it into its footprint. Right? So 48% don't even know that. Don't even know that there was another tower. Why? Because they control the information like they're doing right now. They control the information. Unless there's people like me helping wake up 1 or 2% of people. I don't know if I even get that many. But and maybe another conspiracy theorist out there is helping wake up another 1 or 2%. So, over time, we can wake up about 25% of people, maybe 30 if we're lucky. All right. So that's all. That's all, guys. And this is a long time. Every 9/11, I would come out and I would just destroy the 9/11 narrative a day or two before it. In the beginning stages, I would get attacked like crazy early on when I was in Facebook, way back. And so I would like just destroy that 9/11 stuff. And more information came out every year that crushed it. There's like demolition experts. I didn't join that team, but there were like hundreds, thousands, I think, of demolition experts who said 9/11 was bullshit. Pilots, for 9/11 truth, thousands of them. Nurses and doctors for 9/11 truth, thousands of them. Architects, I had one of them recently on my show the last year, maybe a couple of years ago, that came on, and he didn't show his face, but we did like 2 or 3 shows, and he went into detail about how there's no way that those planes brought those buildings down from an architect point of view. And so they're the experts, and they're like, thousands of them, and they have all the evidence to back it up. That is no way that happened. There's no way it happened, but still there's only 25% 1% of people that believe that, the government was involved, right? That's the best we can do. The government was involved in 9/11. But I can give you days and days worth of facts that who was involved. Well, we know the Bush family was involved because they covered it up, and they're part of the deep state. There should never, ever, ever be a Bush family member come to anywhere close to an office ever again, right? And I don't care that they're like 2 or 3 generations later. It's like, oh, they're innocent. Bullshit, right? Bullshit. They have another name, but we trace it back to the Bush family. Out. You're out of there. All right. So I don't know. Once I'm gone, though, it's like I won't be able to talk this anymore, and they'll just say, "Oh, 9/11, yeah, terrorist crash planes into it," and there won't be anybody go, "Oh, hell no," and Bush family members will be in office again. So, yep, bloodline. That's right, Kim in Wisconsin. That's what my wife Tracy just said. Good job. So, there's some awake people here. All right, so my wife, me, and you, Kim. So I don't know about everybody else, though. All right. Yeah, pull it. All right. Edge of eternity. You're awake too. I know what you're talking about. Pull it. Yeah, we looked at the damage and we're like, pull it. And that's a term they use when they're like, pull the demo cord, because I'm a demo guy. And there's you pull the blasting cap not pull the blasting cap, but pull the fuse igniter, and then it goes shh. All right, pull it. All right, so what else? What else? All right, let's look at some of the headlines out there. What does Drudge Report say? All right, let's go. Let's look at how far this is going so far. So I looked earlier and I was like, it's not at the top yet, but it's there. All right. So let's go in here. Did it make it to the top? Let's go. Saudi Arabia, nope, I don't see it. I don't see it yet. In fact, the ones that I saw earlier, I don't even see those. So maybe it's getting suppressed. Maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope for this moment. All right. So a lot of people are pushing back on it. So they're like, just pull back for now until we get some more deaths, and then we'll come back out. All right. So first suspected generation 3 hantavirus case as Italian, and says Italian who sat alongside woman at Dutch KLM flight before she died developed symptoms amid fears virus has mutated. So this is Daily Mail. All right, that's British. All right, City of London. The first suspected generation 3 hantavirus case has emerged, potentially signifying the first stage of a much wider outbreak of the deadly rat-borne disease, right? No bats this time, rats. No flying rats, rats on the ground, right? Samples from a quarantined Italian man have been sent to an infectious diseases hospital for testing after he boarded a Dutch KLM flight alongside. So he's just alongside a woman who later died from hantavirus. So they've been saying it has to be close personal connections with a person-to-person virus. So there's only one, the Andes hantavirus, that can be transmitted from person to person. Right? You don't get it directly from rat feces or urine or whatever. You can get it from a person, and magically this ship had someone are a couple that got exposed to the hantavirus that is transmissible to person. Amazing how that happened. All right, so far no cases have been confirmed in people who were not on board the MV Hondius so far. But they've had people that could possibly have been infected and people that were infected that died later, like this one lady that her husband died, and she gets on a plane and flies, and she's next to somebody that's now, because it takes a little while for the symptoms to show up to 8 weeks. So this person is showing symptoms, and who knows how many people he was around. Like those movies where somebody gets sick and they wander through the streets and they touch stuff, and days go by and they're like, in big cities, and then eventually they get super sick and then they die, and then they start to retrace. And it's like, well, he could have been all over the friggin' city, on subways, in taxis, at work, at restaurants, you name it. So this could be going on right now, and this is what I believe they're going to use going forward. So this is the numbers, guys. 2 positive, UK 2 positive, and in hospital in Holland and South Africa. 20 passengers isolating at hospital on the Wirral. 1 suspected case on island of Tristan da Cunha. 1 in quarantine in South Pacific's. So all the way up to South Pacific, Pitcairn Island. South Africa, Brit in intensive care in hospital. Dutch woman died in Johannesburg, South Africa. So she was wandering around before she finally died. So South Africa, the tip of South Africa, right? Could be a hotspot. And we know the deep state's pretty active there in South Africa. So France, another deep state place, French woman tested positive in hospital, 4 in isolation, 22 possible contact cases. Netherlands, Dutch husband and wife died. 41-year-old Dutch national in hospital, 56-year-old Brit in hospital. Spain, 14 repatriated. 14 were transferred to Madrid's Gomez Ula Military Hospital for a 42-day quarantine. 1 tested positive. So this is not just, yeah, this could be, I don't believe it. Bullshit, Mike. You don't know what you're talking about. These are the facts right here, right? Or at least these are the facts that they're showing us. Whether they're real, whether they're not, they're going to make something of this, guys. German national died on the MV Hondius. Switzerland, confirmed case of a man in hospital in Zurich. USA, 1 positive, 1 suspected case with symptoms, 15 isolated in Nebraska Medical Center. Canada, 4 repatriated in isolation. Greece, 1 repatriated in isolation. Ireland, 2 repatriated in isolation. Turkey, 3 repatriated in isolation. Belgium, 2 repatriated in hospital for tests. So, hello, this has all the elements of making this into something much, much bigger, right? So, blow me off if you want, right? Go. I don't care, Mike. I don't believe it. So, get pissed off at me. Yeah, like most people do. That's whatever. Bullshit. So, yeah, Hunta in Hebrew means fraud, scam, lie, bullshit. So it's just bullshit, right? Because the name says so, right? The name says so we can just all go back to sleep, right? All right, that's up to you guys. All right, so what else? So hantavirus horror is a new deadly pandemic. That's my words. They said pandemic, about to explode. So that's right at the top of the of Breitbart. So some of these are moving to the top, and people are seeing them. Maybe they're going, "Oh, what's that about?" And clicking on it, go, "Oh, wow, you have to pay attention to that." So, as you guys can see, hantavirus, horror, good choice of words. Right. Hantavirus, horror. All right. So you guys might remember that there were corporations that were all on board with this. And they made us, when we went into their locations, to mask up, social distance. You know, the Kroger and, grocery stores all over, Ralph's, and you name it. You'd get sent away, or cops would show up and escort you out if you didn't have your mask on or social distance. They had aisles where you would go down one way and come back up to another way, and it's like, and you get confused, and it's like you go the wrong way, and people are like looking at you like, "What are you doing?" So you go to restaurants started to open, and you had to wear your mask in. But magically, when you sat down, you could take the mask off, drink, and eat, because the virus knew that you were sitting and eating and drinking, so it wouldn't attack you. Right? So, yeah, I would get up from those tables and I walk around without my mask, and they would. And my wife, she pushed it hard. I was like, she pushed it so hard. I was like, please stop. Because she'd get like these huge guys that were like start to give her shit. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go fuck that guy up. Come on. So it's moving that direction. Why do I say that? Why do I think that the corporations like Costco, why do I think, Mike, Costco again? When I opened up the Costco to look at what's inside the Costco, look at that Oriental Chinese lady. And what does that headline say? Gone viral, right? Remember, it came from Wuhan, so it's in our face. It's in our face again, right? So Chinese lady gone viral. It is talking about, influencers that are spreading the Costco name. It's already started. Well, I mean, the show I did yesterday, go watch the show I did yesterday. They've been planning this all the way back to 1995. Right? So I'm just a messenger, right? I already know what's coming. I said when COVID came out, I said, we're going to have a much worse one in the future, right? And here it is. So I'm just doing the same thing I did last time, unfortunately, because no one was held accountable for the last one, right? So here we are again. Until we learn from it, we're going to repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash. Oh, hell no. Hang everybody that's involved. Send the militia out, form the militia, go out, pull them out into the streets, military tribunal, hang them from the light poles, chop them down, chop them up. All right, who else wants to fuck with us? All right. Until we get there, wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. All right. Right. One good thing, though, Trump opens UFO files in historic government release. So I think in one way, by doing that, he did stop out Project Bluebeam, right? And they're going to continue probably to drop more and more information because they basically open the door. Of course, Pastors were told, tell your flock of sheep that they need to be ready. Flock of sheep. Bah, they need to be ready for these alien disclosures, because there'll be things about these alien disclosure that won't sit well with them. You mean like religion's all bullshit? So, I don't know. Maybe some of it's good. I don't know. Maybe. So anyway, the White House says more declassified UFO records, videos, and government files are still on the way, right? Still on the way. So never fear. We are disclosing. And at some point, if we wake up and and put all these baddies away that are like, continually, controlling our minds so that we can't be creative, right? So that we can't be creative and embrace the ETs, the extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, right? So, and all the technologies that they want to give us, and the freedoms that we will have, and we don't have money in the higher realms of consciousness, right? Everyone has whatever they want. So, and there's no one that's wanting for anything, and everybody lives for as long as you want. You want 1,000 years? Okay. So, but the baddies, they're not gonna survive. Why? Because they're not eating our children and drinking their blood, or drinking our blood, whatever. So they have to have that to survive, right? And so when we wake up and we say no more of that, and in fact, we're going to drag you into the streets and throw you over the light poles and then chop you up, right? So some of you aren't going to do that. I know that. Some of you aren't going to do that. Some of you don't want to be involved in that. It's okay. Just support those of us that will do that, all right? And we'll make it happen. Okay. Now, during the time frame, there's also some serious, because the Earth is like rising in consciousness too, and she's a shaken. What was that that song? If the house is a shaken, don't come a knocking. So, but our Earth is basically shaken, right? And the sun is kicking out energy. The Earth is getting that energy, and the other planets as well. And we're not the only ones in this cosmos. It's a lot of other extraterrestrial beings, if you would, if you will, and they'd be happy to have us raise our consciousness. Yeah, they're not so cool on these baddies either. They fought them, right? They fought them for millions of years all around, not just our little cosmos, but throughout the galaxy and other galaxies. So, but for us to raise in consciousness and break free, we got to fight these knuckleheads off, right? Yeah, they have a lot of power, but so do we. And in fact, we have more power than they do. And they've just led us to believe that they're like the little g gods, and they give us, because they're very nice and very giving, little g gods. They, like our elites, they give us privileges that we already have. In fact, we have a lot more, but they lead us to believe that we're not worthy unless they decide. All right. So that's coming to an end. Anyway, the sun just fired a massive amounts of energy at Earth. All right. That happened on May 10th. Sunspot erupted, and it was very severe, and it's supposed to start to impact tomorrow. So this coronal mass ejection Probably going to get radio blackouts. Some have already hit the Atlantic. GPS degradation across northern Europe, and the magnetosphere is bucking and buckling. Trump on May 13th boards Air Force One, destination Beijing. And he's bringing Elon. So Trump and Elon are buds again. And, I think they weren't getting along for a little bit, and they said bad things to each other. But now they're getting along. And so Elon's been on a couple trips with Trump already, and he's going to China, along with like everybody else that has a lot of power and prestige in the financial realms. So what's going on? What are they going to go over there and do? Are they going to like break down the financial system that the city of London has been, manipulating all of humanity with for a long time? I think so. I think that's happening, and that's good. That's a very good thing. But with this coronal mass ejection that came out, I don't know. So on May 14th, which is the day after the coronal mass ejection impacts Earth, Trump sits down with Z behind closed doors. And then on May 15th, Jerome Powell, that's his last day, right? And Warsh takes the chair. And soon after, the Federal Reserve will go bye-bye, and the IRS and all that stuff. So, but again, it's a consciousness thing. So there's a lot of people still believe the Federal Reserve is a good thing, and that banks are a good thing, and all of that stuff. So it will take time. So a lot of people think that these false religions are a good thing. So it will take a long time for us to awaken to the manipulations that have come with a lot of that. You think at this point the Catholic Church would be, completely gone or changed. And I'm a Catholic Church, Islam, they do the same thing to kids too, that the Catholic priests do. And that's not a good thing. And we should be up in arms about that. But have we? Because these guys seem to be getting away with it. And they have been getting away with it for a long time. All right. And that's, predatory, priests, monks, whatever. Not monks, but priests. Yeah, monks are like isolated usually. So priests that, prey on children. So that's not a good thing. And it should be, everyone should be pretty pissed about that. All right. That's not saying that everybody that's Catholic is bad, of course, but and again, once we awaken to the fact that all the stuff that was built on is nonsense, for the most part, and my wife says pretty much everything's nonsense, and that's what we're going to find out. A lot of our history, but that's going to be fun. Because I'm a history buff, and learning new, truthful history, that's what I've been about for a long time. So I've been putting out a lot of truthful history, looking into my past lives and seeing what really happened, in the past has been very helpful. And it's let me see that, the manipulation, across the entire spectrum of, our time here on Earth has been massively manipulated and twisted and lies here and there. The victor is the one that writes the history, and usually the victor does not like the people that they have been victorious over, so they cancel them out. So that can be a little problematic, especially imagine Iran if they had gotten the bomb. And then they started to manipulate the entire Earth, which was the plan. And they went on to become very, very powerful. And they started, like they were doing, like the Democrats were doing when they were in power last time, pulling down statues and canceling out, still in schools, they teach that Trump is very, very bad and that it would be good if someone assassinated him. They teach that in school, in some places in America. So, that's obviously false, but they don't care. And some of those kids are probably twisted because of that, I imagine. And hopefully they don't get around the president with their BB guns or whatever. It's crazy. So anyway, 3 days, the sun goes dark. The president disappears into the dragon's capital. The Federal Reserve changes hands all at once. You were told to watch for the blackout. You were told it wouldn't look like what you expected. You were told the sun would send the signal, and the sun descending cue. All right. When the grid flickers, Starlink holds Guardian protocol frequency they told you was experimental. It is not experimental. It's the replacement. So the old system goes dark, new system goes live. QFS doesn't activate during calm. It activates during chaos. So just like we're seeing right now, we may see something where they're like, just shut it all down, because these knuckleheads are going to fall for it again, right? We need to help them out. We have enough of them that are awake, like that Jaco dude and his audience, but everybody else, they're going to die if we let this go on. All right, so who knows? Who knows, guys? So the emergency broadcast system, if it does go live in a coming day or whatever, it could be a good thing. So don't panic. It could be a good thing we have a blackout during this coming pandemic. So don't panic, and it could be a good thing. So anyway, if it doesn't happen, then you have to be aware that you are responsible for you, right? So, and for your family and for your loved ones and for your neighbors. If you think that way and take responsibility, then things could be a lot better than what they could possibly not be. It could possibly not be very good, right? That's definitely in one of those timelines out there. All right. So here we go. Hantavirus exposed U.S. passengers who are now being monitored. And let's look at this one. Because well, if some of these people start to pass over, and some people have left that ship that were U.S. passengers and haven't told us that yet, this could be concerning, and it could lead to something much worse. So 18 Americans monitored in Atlanta and Nebraska. As health concerns rise for those who enjoy cruising, passengers are taking a closer look at what protections they have if something goes wrong. So the Caribbean Princess cruise right here. So they're all asking, what are you going to do? And so a lot of people, so these cruises right now are probably going to lose a lot of dollars and cancel vacations. And they're probably going to face additional costs of finding their way home, so forth. So Cruise Lines International Association, so it's already started in the cruise industry. It's already started to hit them, just like it did last time. The industry's largest trade group adopted the Cruise Industry Passenger Bill of Rights in 2013 after several high-profile ship disasters, including the infamous Carnival Triumph poop cruise, during which passengers were left stranded for days without working toilets or reliable power after an engine room fire. Wow, that would not be fun. Right? The right to a full refund for a trip that is canceled due to mechanical failures or people that get sick on the cruise, whatever. So partial refund for voyages that are terminated because somebody gets sick early due to those failures. So you have to know your rights. Your rights, right? So, and I just saw that a Disney cruise was canceled. Now, they said that the Disney cruise was canceled because of an engine problem. And they didn't tell people till later because they're probably working on it. And just like, have you ever been on a passenger plane and you sit on the runway for a while, hours, and then they come back, they pull back in, and then they offload everybody and said, "Oh, sorry, the plane's broke. Come back tomorrow," right? And here's a ticket for a free hotel stay. And I've had that a few times. So did that Disney cruise have something else going on? That's why they canceled. And they said it was because of engine failure. But all those people on that cruise, they're getting refunds and they're getting a voucher for another cruise, 50% off. But they have to do it in 1 year. And so, and I remember I got that, for, flights that got canceled or whatever. But you have to do it within 1 year. And people are complaining. It's like, we have to do it in 1 year? Like, really? Like, so this is some of the things that, people feel entitled. They start to press hard on these industries because shit's going to go bad. Like Costco. But everybody's going to Costco after this show, and you're going to get hundreds of toilet paper rolls, right? So Costco is going to run out of toilet paper now after this show. So we're gonna watch Costco make an announcement. We have no more toilet paper because of Mike Jaco's show, and so got to run to Home Depot. Good night, all. All right, Katie. Make sure you get your toilet paper. So, all right. So, and you don't need to get that. It's ridiculous. So let's look at CNN. What is it? What's the headlines of CNN? So I got CNN, I got Fox. They all had hantavirus. They weren't at the top like Breitbart, but they were somewhere in there. All right. So you see, you just kind of like scroll down a little bit, and they're going to have it in here. Oh, Russian ship. No, that's not it. Inside was 4 months ago. Okay, that's interesting. So it looks like it's down here, if it's anywhere in here. Before it was higher up, and I'm not seeing it now. So they're coaxing everybody into a feeling of it's all right. It's not a headline, so it's okay. Right? So we're going to find out a little bit later on. So Fox, they're kind of like the same. So watch the headlines going forward. If they're really, you got enough toilet paper, Katie, good. All right. I don't know what that is. I don't know what enough is, but good for you. All right. So you got what's your schedule, or how long do you need it to last for? During the last pandemic, what do they say? 14 days, and it stretched out to be months and months and months. Right. So people got enough for 14 days, and then it was, and but some people were hoarding it. You could remember those videos where people like had those big carts and they had it stacked with toilet paper. That's some inconsiderate shit. Right? So, and that's part of those, and they were all masked up and social distance. So that's part of that, 70%. And there's people already getting vaccinated, or so they're posting. There's a RN nurse that was on a flight, and she had her mask on, and she's like, "Can you believe that there's no one else on this flight that has a mask on other than me?" And she still had her scrubs on or something. I just walked out of the hospital, looked like, with a mask on, and got on a flight. And she's saying that now we're in another pandemic, COVID, hantavirus, and they're not wearing their mask yet. Kind of like me when I went into the grocery store. I'm like, "See this mask? You're going to be wearing it soon." And everybody's like, "No, we're not." And there was a lot of people that are like, "Oh, she's full of shit." So, and kind of she is, but in other ways, she's probably not. She's probably been paid to like go out there and do that and get people start to get used to it again. All right. So we're going to probably start to see some more of that. Another person, an RN. Remember how we had the dancing nurses in the last pandemic, and that was infuriating. So, and then I had somebody in my last the one show I did yesterday. They came in. They talked about how they went into the hospital. I think they had some kind of a heart surgery or something, some kind of surgery, and they said it was them and one other person in the hospital, and that was it, other than the COVID ward, right? And it was a big hospital, they said, in a big city, and the nurse was telling them, "Yeah, they're just like getting all this money for people that test positive for COVID." She was letting it out. She's telling them, and she was telling them, "And don't you die, because if you die, they're gonna say you died from COVID, and they're gonna make a lot of money off of you." So he's like, "Okay, I'm not gonna die," and he didn't. So he wrote in my chat, so that's good. But it's same thing's coming again unless we stand up to this. We've heard that people are going to be held responsible. We've seen that some of these people, like Fauci had a certain ear type, and his replacement or whoever's posing for him had a different ear type, much different. Right? Looked like he had bat wings or something. His like ears were way out there, and so bat wings. Yeah, maybe that was a play on the pandemic. It was funny. So it's going to get very interesting going forward. Maybe it'll peter out, but I would suggest you stay alert and watch this comedy of errors, unfold. And stupid people hoard toilet paper. There's probably people that are still hoarding toilet paper. There's probably some people that have basements that are full of toilet paper. I promise you. Right. Michael, do you think with this virus they will try to lock us down again? Yeah, of course. They're already starting to move in that direction. So you'll have to see, we'll have to watch and see, what they're going to try and do. Probably in a very Democrat area, they'll probably start to do this and start to publish it. People self-isolating, masking. The masking's already started. People in gyms with masks already. Somebody's telling me they went to the gym recently, and there's already like several people in the gym with masks on, right? So it's already started. It's already started. So some people will probably start to self-isolate. It'll become obvious, as we move forward. And it'll intensify as they come out with more people dying. If they come out with, it's basically gotten to the point where it's mutated, gain of function somewhere, and then put in the system, put it out there. They can just release it anywhere at this point and say, oh, somebody must have gone through this area that was on the ship, or they infected somebody that was on a flight or something with them, and then they went to this area, and that's why there's an outbreak there, and that's why all these people are dying, and blah, 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 right? So some people still wear masks even in their cars while driving still. It's like, and I just like, well, you need your seat belt that you're using in your car. You need to put that on when you get out of your car and you're walking around, because you don't know. You might get an car accident while you're walking around. You want to be safe. Right? So some people are just like that, guys. It's so ridiculous. Yep. Remember, U.S. government used to put viruses in airports to test things out. That was in the 80s. Yep. And they would do whole complexes. I remember they were testing, some of these deadly viruses, whatever, that they were making in Fort Detrick on some populations. There was like in it wasn't Harlem, but I think it was like Cincinnati. They had like a huge complex for the people that needed housing, and they just happened to all be black, and a lot of those people died, and they didn't know why they were dying until like years and years later, and they had all kinds of issues, and now they're being sued and they're getting money. But I don't want to get money for somebody in my family that 20 years from now make $1 million or whatever, for somebody in my family that dies from some of that bullshit. So that's what we're seeing right now with COVID. There should be a lot of people that are being sued. And I think some people have been sued at this point, and some people have gotten money for some problems. But yeah, the Tuskegee Airmen, or the Tuskegee men, Truth or Mike, where they came in, not Tuskegee Airmen, but the Tuskegee black men, where they came in and infected them with gonorrhea or syphilis or something, and just monitor them and see how their families did, and like they injected them with it or something, and they didn't know that. It's kind of like Indian, Native American Indian women would go in after they gave birth, and then they would sterilize them so they get birth any more babies. So they were doing that, all kind of crazy stuff, guys. You can't trust this government. Maybe the Trump government, but still, even within Trump's government, there's still these crazies that have been infiltrated in there. And of course, over time, with the crazies, during the Biden administration, during the Obama administration, during the Bush administration, during the Carter administration, during the Clinton administration, good guys were infiltrating those administrations and keeping tabs on them and trying to move things a certain direction. Don't think that because we have someone that's in there that's good, that they haven't been penetrated by the baddies. And the baddies, in a lot of cases, have been there for a long time. And they're in high positions. They were advanced, not through merit, but selected because they were going to do the biddings of the evil ones in their positions of power. So they still have power over us in a lot of ways until they get drug out in the streets and hacked up, right? So I used to say, I hope that never happens. And I was saying this, 6 years ago, that I hope we never do that. And maybe I should have said we should do that. Now I'm saying we should do that, right? Because it looks like it's not going to get done otherwise. And this is the way this has been done in the past to handle these problems, right? All right. So anyway, it's not up to me whether we do that. I'm not going to do it on my own and become a martyr. And then they say this crazy guy, this crazy SEAL, he went off. He got PTSD and just started killing bad people. I mean, good people. Yeah, I'm not going to do it on my own. We're going to get militias. We're going to be, involved probably with the Trump administration and, start to, because they don't have enough people. They absolutely don't have enough people. And then we're going to do the military tribunals and then, hang them from the light poles or whatever, right? So I hope it doesn't happen. Maybe because we're talking this way, they're going to be like, oh, we got to back down. We got to back down right now. Maybe we should have been talking this way in the last one. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten as bad, right? And they wouldn't have come out with a vaccine. All right, guys. I won't have to talk about this, I hope, every show. But, I'm going to keep tabs on it. If it starts to get a little crazy, then we'll bring that information out so everybody can be informed. But I'm sure you guys, for the most part, are keeping yourselves informed. And if you haven't, then you're going to start, all right? You're going to start to watch those headlines. And it'll make a difference if we get involved. It always makes a difference when we get involved. So it'll be good. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. And we'll see you guys next time.